Hello, aspirants. I welcome you to the Amrita IS monthly current affairs series, and we are starting with art and culture. So now we have done the April month art and culture, right? So we start with GI tags. So GI tags, that is geographical indications of India. So what is that? What are GI tags? I hope you know. Very easy. So from the name itself, geographical indications. So some of the products which have a specific geographical origin. For example, Darjeeling tea from Darjeeling, right? Some mirrors in the Kerala, we have already discussed that. There are many GI tags in India. Shahi Lychee from Bihar. Okay, so we'll discuss some of them which are released recently. So they are the signs having a specific geographical origin poses quality or reputation due to that origin. So they have that reputation because of the origin from that particular place. Okay, and they need to be protected so as to give them more exposure, more market access, premium prices, and all these things. For example, champagne from France is being used all over the world, isn't it? Just because they are protected under the IPR. More importantly, from prelims perspective, these two things are important. Regulated under the Geographical Indication Goods and Registration and Protection Act 1999, and under which ministry it comes. So given by the Controller General of the Patents, Design and Trademark, and he is under the Department of Promotion of Industry and Trade, Internal Trade, under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So keep this in mind. Okay, this can be a India book based question. So it is also covered under the TRIPS Act. So TRIPS Act also talks about the GI tags. Then the recently announced GIs are, for example, starting from very famous Kashmiri saffron. Acha, important GIs are those from the name itself you are not able to decipher from which state they belong. Okay, for example, Kashmiri saffron, not very important. Gorakhpur terracotta, not very important, because Gorakhpur is the city in the UP. Now, again, that is not very important. That is not very important. What becomes important? This becomes important. Sorai Kovar, because from the name itself you cannot guess the location, the state. Then Chakhao from Manipur, you cannot guess. This becomes important. Telia Rumal, this becomes important, from Telangana. Then Kovilpatti, Kadlai Mitai, they're from Tamil Nadu. This we cannot guess from the name itself. So these four become important, right? Now let us see one of these. First is Kashmiri saffron. So they are cultivated in the Karevas. Kareva, I hope you have read in your geography portion. Karevas in the Kashmir Valley in Jammu and Kashmir. The only saffron grown at an altitude, such high altitude, 1600 meter to 1800 meter. Though the Kashmiri saffron itself cannot come, but the questions on these lines can come. For example, in ancient Sanskrit literature, they were referred as the Bahukam. So it can come, for example, Bahukam. What is this? Okay. Then there are three types: Guchi, Lacha, and Mongra. So the question can come: Guchi, Lacha, and Mongra are a variety of what? Okay. So this question can come: they are variety of what? So on these lines the question can come. Largest producer is Iran, not India, and India is the second largest producer. So also keep this in mind. Okay. Saffron, it is known as the Kesar. So remember the three types of Kashmiri saffron, that is Lacha, Mongra, and Guchi, right? Okay, they also have the medicinal properties along with the properties for the food and other things. Then Gorakhpur terracotta. So they backed the GI tag. Gorakhpur, a very famous city in Uttar Pradesh, from where the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh also comes. Okay, so it's a century-old traditional art form. So the potter makes the various animal figures. So animal figures, gods also. So with the hand applied ornamentation. So for example, not very important: elephants, horse, deer, camel, single-faced Ganesha, elephant, hanging bells. All these things are made. Okay, because a century-old traditional art form, that is why it is given in GI status. Next, very important, that is Sohrai Kovar painting. So first of all, itself question can come: what is Sohrai Kovar? It is in the news. So it is a painting. Then it is a mural painting. Okay, done on the walls. So I think you know about the paintings. First is mural painting, then miniature paintings are there, right? So ritualistic and traditional mural art practiced by the local tribal women during the local harvest and marriage season in the state of Jharkhand. They got GI tag by it is headquartered in Chennai. Okay, so very famous these paintings. You can see other paintings done on the walls. Then we have Telia Rumal from Telangana. So they are designed handloom cloths. Okay, Rumal is also a Hindi word actually. I don't know Hindi word, but in Hindi belt it is known as the handkerchief. Okay, so it involves integrate handmade work with the cotton looms, displaying variety of designs and motifs in three particular colors: red, white, and black. So these are Telia Rumal from Telangana state. Then we have Chakhao. Chakhao is a black rice. So when it is made, it's a clumsy like thing. Okay. They are also known for its medicinal properties. Okay. They are from Manipur state. So got GI tag characterized by special aroma eaten during the community feast, such as Chakhao kheer they are making, right? They have a very long cooking time also, a different a detail about it. Okay, longest cooking time due to presence of a fibrous layers. So they have very high fiber content. So that is why a lot of medicinal properties are also there. Right. Next is Kovilpatti Kadlai Mitai. So this is these. I hope you all have eaten this, right? So these are candy made up of jaggery and the peanut. So this is the place in the Tamil Nadu, Kovilpatti. Okay, very easy question. If the question comes, it will be from which state it belongs and what it is. Right. So sweet and candy story. So they add some other things, but not that much important because this much will serve our purpose. Now few more GIs are in news. We'll discuss two more. That is first is Toda tribe and Toda embroidery. So Toda tribe is a pastoral tribe from the Nilgiri hills in the southern India. Toda embroidery, you can see currently it has been seen that they are making these embroidery on the masks. Okay, so distinctive red and black color, white cotton fabric they use, and it is also a GI tag. So currently they are in use because of they have made this COVID-19 masks, very beautiful mask. Also the Madhubani paintings is in news because on Twitter, many painters from Madhubani paintings, those who do, they have used the paintings on the mask so as to sell them, isn't it? So please prepare the Madhubani painting as well. Just to let you know, prepare the Madhubani painting, one of the folk paintings. Then Shahi Lychee, very famous from Bihar. Unique fruit from Bihar due to attractive appearance and delicious pearly white aril. So this is lychee. So it was in the news because Department of Post has worked with Department of Horticulture for doing the doorstep delivery of the Shahi Lychee. Very interesting, isn't it? So join hands to supply all these Shahi Lychees to the people because especially during the lockdown, during the many restrictions being imposed. So this is done from GI tags. Quickly, let us move to the next topic. Florence Nightingale. So Florence Nightingale, everybody knows that she is the epitome of nursing in the nursing domain. So she is known as the founder of the modern nursing, right? Lady with the lamp, also known as the Lady with the Lamp, British nurse, social reformist, statistician. Interestingly, when you read about her, she belonged to a very a rich family. She left all that to serve in a nursing purpose. Now that was revolutionary at her time, and that is why she is a very good example of, if you quote in ethics, right? She took really transformative steps to reform the modern nursing. Okay, right. So International Nurse Day, May 12th, it is being celebrated. Now WHO, we have already read that WHO has designated 2020 as the International Years of Nurse and Midwife. It is also in the context of the COVID-19 itself, right? Many of the nurses, they have lost their life in this COVID-19 crisis, especially in USA, UK, right? In India also many such cases are coming up. Next is Purandar Das. So Purandar Das was a Bhakti poet. He was a composer of the Carnatic, renowned composer of the Carnatic music, great devotee of Lord Krishna. Remember this, because Bhakti poets are very, very important at the time of Bhakti time. So they can ask you, if not Kabir and Tulsi and Meera, they can ask you about the Bhakti poets from the south also. Okay, so he was a Vaishnavite poet, a saint, and a social reformer. He was a disciple of the Dvait philosopher. What is Dvaitwad? So we have already Advaitwad, right? Advaitwad of Shankaracharya. Dvaitwad means two realities. Just leave it at that. Two realities. They assume that there are two realities. Okay. So he was a composer, singer, and one of the chief founding proponents of the Carnatic music. Why it has been news? Because the news related to from where he belonged, where his birthplace was, is in contention. Some people say that he belonged to Karnataka. Some people say he belonged to Maharashtra. Okay, and that is why it has been news. So the Karnataka government has officially taken up steps so as to identify, put this mystery at its place, from which place he belonged to. What was the birthplace of Purandar Das? Okay, right. Next is Maharana Pratap, very famous figure, and now currently in the nationalist discourse, he is also becoming very, very important. So in medieval history, we don't have a lot of information on him, and I think this much information should be sufficient. So he was born in Rajasthan, 1540. He was the 13th king of the Mewar and the son of the Uday Singh too. Okay, and more importantly, his fight with the general of Akbar, that is Raja Man Singh, is important, right? Battle of Haldi Ghati. So 1576 Battle of Haldi Ghati is one of the battles that we grow up while reading, right? So Naidu Modi pays tribute to Maharana Pratap because of his Jayanti in this May month. So remember, Haldi Ghati was fought between the Maharana Pratap and the general of Akbar, that is Raja Man Singh of Amber. So he resisted that is why he's famous, that is resisted the Akbar suzerainty. But however, his son finally cave in and he submitted Mewar to the Akbar, right? His horse is very famous, Chetak. If you remember, at many crossings, his horse and his figure is there, right? Okay. Next is Veer Savarkar, again a very controversial figure, but let us see from the factual details. So he was a member of the Abhinav Bharat Society. Those were the revolutionaries in 1900, first decade of 1900s. He and his brother, that is Ganesh Damodar Savarkar, they founded this society, and they used to carry on the revolutionary activities. Then he was also involved with the India House and the Free India Society. Those were the international organizations helping these revolutionaries. He was the first one who said that 1857 revolt was a first independence movement. History of the War of Indian Independence. It was not a sepoy mutiny as some people say, according to him. So he proclaimed it as a history of War of Indian Independence. He wrote the book Hindutva, Who is Hindu? So later on, his ideology of Hindutva became the centerpiece of his thought. He became the president of the Hindu Mahasabha from 1937 to 1943. He was also in the news because the Maharashtra government has called for the Bharat Ratna for Veer Savarkar, right? The Shiv Sena in their political manifesto. So that is why he's in news. But I still think this question will not come. Why? Because it is a very, very sensitive issue and one should not focus too much on him. The question will be asked on non-controversial figures. Okay, for example, you can see when the Bharat Ratna was there, so RSS says that why not Bharat Ratna? Savarkar should be given the Bharat Ratna. On the other hand, Congress, many people say that Bharat Ratna should be given for Bhagat Singh, Rajguru and Sukhdev. Tushar Gandhi says that he was a patron of the Gandhi's assassin, that is Nathuram Godse. Some people say that he was the mentor of the Nathuram Godse. So there are many different perspectives on Savarkar. Again, as I told you, very polarizing figure in the modern polity especially. Next is Buddha Day or Vesak. So that is on 7th May we have celebrated Buddha Jayanti. It is also known as the Vesak Day. So the question can come not on Buddha Jayanti but in the name of Vesak Day. What is this relates to? So it is said that on this particular day, Buddha Jayanti, the birth, enlightenment and death of Buddha happened. All on the same day, interestingly. Birth, enlightenment and death, parinirvana of Buddha all happened on the same day, right? Very interesting. So it is observed on the full moon in May, observed by United Nations on 7th May 2020. It is also known as the Buddha Purnima or Buddha Day. UN General Assembly in its resolution recognized International Day of Vesak. So this is that. So the UN Secretary General has also said that like he gives a speech also on this day. So that is why it's very important day. So the question can come from our perspective. The question can come Vesak Day. What is this relates to? So option 1, 2, 3, 4. Buddha Jayanti or something is something. Right? From the name itself, you cannot decipher, okay, this is related to the Buddhism. So now they can ask questions on these lines as well. Next is International Gandhi Peace Prize. So obviously named after Mahatma Gandhi, annually awarded by the government of India. Okay, so rewarded by the government of India, launched by government of India in 1995. So a lot of rewardees are there, including Nelson Mandela. Okay, so Ministry of Culture, why it is in the news? Because the deadlines has been extended. Okay, so they have last date for the receipt of the nomination has been extended. What are the things, some details related to it? So this award is given to individuals as well as associations, institutions and organizations. For example, ISRO was also given this particular award, right? Open to all people, as I told you, given to the or everyone. Nelson Mandela, for example, I've given you example. Recently in 2019, a Japanese scientist was given who is worked for leprosy. It is not awarded posthumously, means it is awarded to the people who are still living. So there are few details, just keep in mind. If the question comes, I don't think that's really important, but if it comes, these are the details that will be important. Then, as I was telling you that, just one second, some of the people which are recently being given, for example, ISRO, Chandi Prasad Bhatt in India, who was environment activist during the Chipko movement. Then ISRO, then Akshay Patra Foundation, Sulabh International. Last time, Mr. Sasakawa, who was contributor to the leprosy eradication in India, he was given the Gandhi Peace Prize. Next, not very important, but it was mentioned in one of the newspapers. They have given the list of the indentured labor laws in India. That is why we are discussing it. What is indentured labor? So basically, they are, you can say, bonded labor, or you can say contracted labor. Those who are under the contract to fulfill a particular task, okay, and for which they are paid really less. So, for example, Bengal Regulation 1819. So it was for the Bengal planters in the Assam tea state. So they were said to be under 5-year contract, and if they desert, it was punishable. If they desert means if they do not follow this contract. Then we have a Native Labours Act. So it was passed in Bengal, strengthened the control of the employers. It enabled them to detain the laborers in the district of employment and imprison them for 6 months if they desert. Similarly, we have Bengal Act of 1865. Just don't pay a lot of attention, but just see. If the question comes, it can be on this line. But still, I feel the questions will not come on this. But it was mentioned in the newspaper, and that is why we are discussing it. So, Bengal Act of 16 of 1865 passed to deploy special immigration police to prevent, special immigration police, isn't it? To prevent the laborers from leaving, return them to the plantation after detention. So as to ensure that they remain in the plantation, they provide the labor. That is was most important to the colonial economy. Then we have 1911 Factory Act. After a lot of protests, you can see the context. More elementary reforms have come. A pressure from the moderates is there. So, and also the British government is also seeing, okay, the slow process of giving the responsible government in India. So, earlier the shift was for 16 hours. Now they have reduced the shift to the 12-hour shift. Once they have asked about the Factory Act. So remember all the Factory Act, very, very important. Because they are not mentioned in your traditional syllabus, but the questions being asked in UPSC. Then in 1935, we have a Royal Commission on the Labours, which was set up in 1935. Okay. So finally, Plantation Labour Act of 1951 was passed in the independent India. Now, this is basically how from India, this indentured labor went from India to abroad. There was a question in the main examination. You can call it in the world history. The question was that, so laborers went from India to which places and why they went and all these. It's a good question and you can use this. So from India, they went to many places. You can see Jamaica, right? Other British West Indies islands. So Chandrapal, Ramnaresh Sarwan, that example I give. Then to South Africa, Mahatma Gandhi went, there were indentured laborers. Mauritius and Fiji, currently you know how much Indian diaspora is there. In the Malay Peninsula, in the Reunion, in East Africa, in Suriname and French Guiana. You can see Latin America, a lot of people went to Latin America. Why? Because a lot of plantation crops were there, right? So this is the indentured laborers. Okay, and majority will see only the British colony, because British was obviously the main colonizer of India. So not very important from British perspective, but just I wanted to share with you. So this, let us finish our session. Let us quickly revise what we have read. So we started with the discussion on the GI tag, which is under which ministry? Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Then recently announced GIs we have read. Kashmiri saffron. We have read that these three varieties can come. Gucci, Lacha and Mogra. You don't have to read about them, but the question can come, these are variety of. Then we have Gorakhpur terracotta. We have Sorai Kowar painting, that is painting in Jharkhand, mural paintings in Jharkhand. Then we have Telia Rumal, that is in the Telangana. We have Chakhao rice variety from Manipur. Then we have a sort of candy from Tamil Nadu made from jaggery and peanuts. Then we have Toda tribes, not recent ones, but Toda tribes, they are making masks from Nilgiri, Kerala. Then we have Shahi Lychee from Bihar. Why it was in the news? Because Department of Post and Department of Horticulture had come up with this home delivery of the Shahi Lychee. Then Florence Nightingale we have read. WHO had decided to put 2020 as the International Year of the Nurse and the Midwives. Then Purandar Das, very important figure from Karnataka. His birthplace has been in news that he belonged to Karnataka or Maharashtra. He was the patron of the Carnatic music. Then we have Maharana Pratap from Mewar. So what is important? Battle of Haldi Ghati with Raja Man Singh, who was a general of the Akbar. Then Veer Savarkar, controversial figure, not very important. Then Vesak Day from Buddha Purnima, 7th of May. They celebrate. Then finally International Gandhi Peace Prize we have read. Then endangered labor laws in India. And with this we finish our session. So we are done with art and culture from both April and May month. So we have covered around 12 months of art and culture, right? So from June 2019 to May 20. We'll also cover June and July as well. I hope if we find time, we'll put the August one as well. At least important ones we will do. So this much information is relevant for us. See you in the next class. Bye-bye for now. Thank you, everyone.